Minister announced an 8.1 billion economic stimulus and relief package to address the effects arising from the first 21 days lockdown period. Joining us in the studio is the Minister of Finance, Ipumbu Shiimi. Very good evening to you, sir, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, Mr. Babu.
I almost introduced you as the governor of the Bank of Namibia in such a long time. But anyways, let's get to the questions. Let me perhaps start off with the $8.1 billion question. Where is the money coming from?
Maybe before we start talking about where the money is coming from, let's talk about why are we doing that?
Yes.
Why are we spending that money? First of all, we recognize that we are in a crisis, a global crisis, which we have not seen before. So, and therefore the first priority is to protect the lives of Namibians. So we need to spend resources to protect the life of Namibians. So one of the package we are introducing is to make a provision of 1.1 billion for the Minister of Health, so that the ministry can buy protective gear, the equipment that they need to protect Namibian lives. So that's one. The second part is to protect the livelihood of Namibians, because we know that the crisis, the COVID-19 has introduced hardship to different sectors of the society and businesses. People have lost their incomes because they have lost their jobs. Businesses have lost customers. For instance, if we look at the tourism industry, for instance, they have lost income because nobody's allowed to travel. And therefore, that has caused economic hardship for different sectors such as those ones. And therefore, we need to find a way of helping them. And therefore, that's the reason why we have introduced this package. Now, you have asked the question, where is the money coming from? The money is coming from different sources, but we have started with our own internal savings. We have, over a number of years, have put together a fund which was meant to repay our loans in the future. That fund is standing at in the region of about 8 billion Namibian dollar. So part of the resources we are going to use will come from that fund. Part of it will also come from our internal revenue, because, for instance, our circle revenue is much better than last year, so that will also help us to finance some of those activities. And of course, that will also be accompanied by some limited borrowing. But what we are trying to do, especially at the beginning, is to try and use our own savings, so that we avoid increasing the country's debt level. Hence, at the moment, we're not relying on too much debt, because we want to keep the debt level more or less the same. So that's where the money is coming from.
Let's talk about the beneficiaries. Who are the beneficiaries that are of this relief package?
Yeah.
Who are you targeting?
So we have three goals, as I have pointed out. First of all, protect lives by equipping our health sector with enough resources. Secondly, protect income. And therefore, for instance, if you look at the livelihood, at the households where we want to protect income, we have, for instance, what we call the emergency income grant. Now, the purpose of that scheme is to try and help those that are in the informal sector that have lost a livelihood because of the restrictions that are accompanying the state of emergency. So people who were selling in the informal sector, they are no longer able to sell their goods, and therefore they have lost their income, and therefore it may be difficult for them to put food on the table. So we have a grant for them, which is standing which is an amount of 750 Namibia dollar per month. That is going to come from government.
How did you arrive at that 750, and is it going to be a once-off payment, or how is it exactly going to work?
The formula is based on the poverty line. So the assessment that was done determined that for somebody to be able to sustain a life, have basic food stuff, for instance, you need at least 250 Namibia dollar per week. Now multiply that by the number of days we are in a lockdown period. That will bring it to about 750. So that's the formula that we are trying to follow. Yeah. And what was the other question? You asked the question, yes, how did we arrive at...
It's 750 years.
Yeah, 750. So it's 250 times the number of days. It's 21 days, so that will bring you to about $750 million.
All right, walk us through the registration process and tell us how the monies will be disbursed to the affected people.
We are following a two-way approach. First of all, we had to design the package, and in a very limited time period. We didn't have much time to design this package. And secondly, at the same time, while we are designing the package, we are also looking at the mechanism and the procedures, the operational procedures, to be able to roll out these schemes. So we are still busy designing the operational procedures, and we will announce to the public in due course as to how the public can access these programs that government has introduced today. So just give us a bit of time. We will definitely come back to the public with more concrete information in that regard.
So in other words, there's no exact date on when it will start. I mean, we're in day 4, going for day 5 of the 21-day lockdown. So
the date is soon. Speed is of a necessity here. So, but we need to find a way that is going to transmit the money as fast as possible in an efficient way, so that we don't lose the money. The money goes to the intended recipients, and therefore we'll want to come back to the public with a smooth mechanism that is going to put money in their hands in a faster way.
Some people have asked the question as to why can't those grants be put in the form of credit, for example, at shops like ShopRite, Pick and Pay, and in Checkers, where people can go register and purchase what they need. Because in some instances, when people receive that money, they go use it for the unintended purposes. They go buy alcohol or drugs, whatever it may be, that was not meant for that money. Why was that also going to be an idea that you may consider, perhaps?
Definitely, all the ideas are welcome. We were looking at what is important is how do you get this money in the hands of the people who need it, and they don't need it tomorrow; they need it yesterday. Hence, the importance of having a scheme that is really going to make sure that the speed of transmission of the money it's high.
Ipumbu Shiimi, it's been a great pleasure talking to you, and you're definitely a man with a very, very momentous task ahead of you, and we wish you and your entire team all the best in executing this duty to the best of your ability. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right. It was the Minister of Finance, Ipumbu Shiimi, talking to us about the 8.1 billion economic stimulus and relief package and how it will be disbursed. You're watching the news.